Welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. I am your host, the ever so humble Indian Cinemaniac, back with another 15 to 20-ish minute review. First, I want to thank everybody. I'm up to 1,770 subscribers, getting ever so closer to that 2,000. So thank you for your continued support and your comments, which have been coming in. Now, the last few haven't really been taken off, but that's okay. I had a bunch that did really well, so I'm pretty happy with what's happening. So this was one. This was a film that was recommended by. I put out for lack of a better word, a viewer poll where I asked people to give me their go-to film, and only like five. I think it was five people, if less than that, put something in. So I wanted to do one for somebody who responded to that. And this was, and I'm pretty sure this is a new subscriber because I don't recognize the name. It's at Zain Ul Saad. Zain Ul Saad. Zainulsad. And the film that he recommended, he said it's a little change of pace film. It is an SRK film. So I'm sure I'm sure we're going to see a little bit of that, like we always do. But the film he chose was Paheli from 2005. Paheli. Puzzle, riddle, enigma. Paheli. It's a fantasy film. And it's directed by Amol Palekar. It stars Shah Rukh Khan, who I've seen. I've seen 25 movies of his: Darr, Pathan, Devdas, among others. Rani Mukerji, who was in Veer-Zaara, Talash, and Mangal Pandey. Anupam Kher, who was in MS Dhoni, Wednesday, one of my favorite Indian films, Baby. Nazaruddin Shah, who was also in Wednesday, Sarah Frosh in Fate. I didn't. Amitabh Bachchan, who has a pretty great cameo in this. Pink, Cholet, Jun, among others. Juhi Chawla, who's in Darr and ISHQ. Sunil Shetty, who also has a cameo. Main Hu Na. Now, this film was very different than most films I've seen. In fact, it's a fairy tale. They kind of tell you that at the beginning. This film was selected as the official entry into the Oscars around the time of the film. And this was over a film like Swadesh, which I thought was a better film and better performance by Shah Rukh Khan. Now that I'm not giving you a hint about what I thought about this movie, but I was kind of surprised that this would have been the choice. This film was originally supposed to be Kajol's comeback, but instead she chose the film Faana because she thought the role was better. I'm going to, at the end of the videos, I put recommendations. I'm going to put Faana so you can hear my review of Faana because I think she made the wrong choice, even though Amir Khan was in that film. Aishwarya Rai signed on for the role once Kajol didn't want to do it. And I will tell you that the actress they got to replace her has the same kind of eyes because her eyes are breathtaking and just this. I don't even know what color they are, but they're amazing. So did Ronnie. Taboo took over and then didn't like the role. So it ended up with Rani Mukerji. It's based on a short story by Vijayadan Detha, and it is also a remake of a 1973 Hindi film, Duvida. So there's a little background information on that. So let's start with the story. And this film doesn't waste any time with getting to the story. So this is basically it. A woman is about to be married. Excuse my phone. A woman is about to be married. So the film starts off with her prepping for the wedding. She ends up on this, we'll call it a caravan, whatever you want to call it, to go to the wedding with her fiance, played by Shah Rukh Khan. His character's name is Kishan. Her name is Lakchi. But you can tell that she's not totally into this wedding. and he's not an accountant, but the when you first like in the I talk about this a lot in Indian films. They give the lead actors like these unbelievable entrances, right? Like even in this film, they do it with Amitabh Bachchan. They didn't do it with SRK. He plays kind of a nebbish, kind of a nerd, kind of a milk toast type of character who's really not interested in getting married. All he's interested in is the accounts, the accounts. So that's how they started off. Well, before they get home, they stop at this little whatever it is, some kind of way station. I don't know what you call it, for lunch. And right away you find out that there's a bunch of ghosts there in the form of puppets voiced by Amitabh Bachchan. Oh, there was someone else. I didn't recognize the name, and I know that if excuse me, it was Nasaruddin Shah was one of the voices, and his voice is very recognizable. But also, I want to. The other cameo was a woman, and it was Ratna Pathak Shah. So Nazaruddin Shah and Ratna Pathak Shah, if you're familiar with Shakespeare, they're the chorus. They continually show up throughout the film to give away exposition, but they're puppets that when you first see them, they're hanging from a tree, but their mouths are animated as they're talking about what's happening. But eventually, they're just floating around. Okay, I mean this is total fantasy, and right away you see this one character that is a bird, then turns into a squirrel, and then turns back into a bird, interacting with Lakchi. And by interacting with her in this small little thing, ends up falling in love with her. And so the puppets are talking about that they can tell that she doesn't belong with Kishnan. That's not right there. And they're talking about this in the dialogue. Well, they leave and now they get married, Kishnan and Lakchi, and they're having their wedding night nuptials. And by the way, like our I'm gonna say it wrong, Ashwara, she's got these eyes, and I can't even tell you what color they are. Maybe hazel, but they pop. They're just gorgeous eyes. I don't know what color they are, but they are like spectacular, beautiful woman. And on their wedding night, he informs her he's leaving tomorrow for business for 5 years. And rather than inflame passions, they should wait till he gets back. And she's crying. She doesn't understand it. Because what you also find out, another in law left 7 years ago and never returned. And the bride lives with them. And that was played by Juhi Chawla, I believe. Not in it a lot, but in it. So Shah Rukh Khan's character goes back and passes the same place that they passed on the way to the mansion. Now the ghost realizes he's left. He can take on any form and becomes Kishnan and goes back to Lakchi. And the father, who is played by Anupam Kher, who's very funny in this, he's the comic relief, really. He thinks this is kind of weird, but then he says, "You'll get 5 pieces of gold every day." And he says that he goes, "Every day you'll get 5 pieces of gold." And the father says, "May you live a long life," which I thought was pretty funny. So now he's acting totally different with her. Like she says, "You're seeing me." It's like you're seeing me for the first time. He's in love with her. But to his credit, he explains exactly what he is, that he is a ghost and that he loves her. And if she wants him to leave, he will. And she was like, "I could wait for someone who doesn't love me, or I could be with someone who does love me." And now it's the story is how are they going to stay together? That's really what the whole story is about. But they don't waste any time with the fantasy element of this. And the special effects were actually pretty good. The way he transforms looks like kind of sand, you know. Um, and they have, I think they have really good chemistry. Now, my one complaint about Khan was there wasn't a big enough contrast between the two of them, the ghost as him and the actual him, till the last quarter of the film where they interact with each other. And the real Kishnan is starting to freak out because no one believes that he's the real person. That's when you could see a distinction. But other than that, it wasn't a big difference because he does a lot of dual roles. Fan was one of them. Dawn was another one. So he does that and he does it really well. And this one, this is an old film too, so I don't know how long into it he was. I don't know why that keeps going. Um, but their chemistry's good. It's a very it's a cute movie. It's a family friendly movie, absolutely positively. There's scenes where he uses his magic. At one point she gets upset with him and she says you can't use your magic anymore. And to prove his love to her, he says he won't. And there's a camel race that he manipulates. Um, I'm trying to think what else was in it that I really liked. I'm going to get to the Big B cameo in a second. Um, yeah. Yeah, so then they end up okay, now this is where the real kind of so now years go by and she gets pregnant with the ghost's baby. And the news gets back to Kishnan. How can she be pregnant? Well, now here's where the movie just was like it fit with the fantasy vibe, I guess. So the real Kishnan shows up, and now there's two of them, and they don't all freak out like what the heck's going on. No, instead they go to the elders and say, "How are we going to decide which is the real one? Which one is going to be the husband, and which one is going to be the father?" So they decide to go see the king, and the king is the shepherd, and the shepherd is Amitabh Bachchan, and it's a great scene, and he's not in it very much. Very funny though, but they shoot it in a way that the it's backlit, and all you see is a silhouette. You see his outline, but you can't tell it's him. Then the camera pulls around, and he's a shepherd. He's got the beard, and he's very very big, very which you don't normally see him do. Very funny because he's trying to figure out how to solve which one is real between the two. And the real Kishnan is panicking because no one believes him. So he starts asking questions like, pick up a hot coal, and then you're the real one, and then other tests. Well, then finally he says, if you can, he's got a water bottle. He goes, if you can go into this water bottle and prove your love, that will prove who her husband is. So the ghost is contemplating this, and he really does love Lakchi. So he goes like a genie in a bottle. He goes into the water bottle, they tie the water bottle and leave it. And then they all take off. That solves the problem. He's trapped. And then Big B walks away. So the last scene is Kishnan going to Lakchi and explaining exactly what happened. And then he says something to her where she realizes it's the ghost who possessed the real Kishnan. And because he knew the baby's name, Lunama, I think the baby's name was Lunama, and the real Kishnan didn't know that. And now all of a sudden she realizes this the love of her life, and she's so happy. Now the kind of squirrely thing about that is the ghost kind of eliminated the real Kishnan. What message does that send? But he said, like she said, well, they locked you in the water bag. So how did you get out? He said, I told you I would never leave you and the baby. I would always be a part of you. And he starts doing this with my magic. That wasn't going to hold me. And that was it. That was the story. And I gave the story, it was a cute story. It was a sweet story. I gave it a 3. Um, it was cute. I really liked it. It was just like a feel good type thing. I don't call it great cinema, and I know this movie did really well, and I read the reviews on it and people talking about this film and how well it did, and they talk about it with such reverence, like we talk about the Wizard of Oz almost, you know. Um, but it was cute. I liked it, and it was sweet. It was um, SRK didn't do a lot of the over the top SRK things that he did in later years. So I like that. You know, when he started to panic a little bit, but nothing too much. He never did this. Never. Um Now the performances, I thought they were all good. They weren't great. I mean, if you really look at this film, it's kind of a woman empowerment film. And from 2005, that's a pretty big deal for this because it was all about arranged marriage, being in a marriage where you don't love somebody, or being in a marriage where, because of your father, you have to leave for 5 years, or in the other case, 7 years. And by the way, that was played by the one that was gone for 7 years, who comes back at the end of the film, was played by Sunil Shetty. So that was his cameo on that. He comes back at the end after 7 years. So it really was a story about a woman thinking with her heart and not what everyone tells her. Now, the other thing that was a little difficult to understand was the time frame when this takes place. It looked like, an historical film, but they never really said. If you know, tell me, because I really didn't understand that. It was also shot in what is it? I don't want to screw this up. The name of it. It's Raga Salam. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't think so. Let me see here. Do, 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 do. It was, let's see. Yeah, Rajasthan. That's where it was filmed. It was filmed in Rajasthan. Um so the performances, for this type of film, I gave the performances a 3. I wouldn't say it was stupendous acting. It was good, and I liked them all in it. The comic relief was okay. The puppets, it didn't. The puppets didn't make a lot of sense to me, other than they were possessed spirits. The puppets. In fact, during the credit scene, they do well. I'll get to the music in a second. So I give that a 3. Now there was a lot of music in this, probably a little too much in my eyes, but there was a lot. Um, Actually, it opens with a song which is on her wedding day. She's preparing for her wedding, and it's a beautiful scene. And that's the other thing I should say about this film: the cinematography and the set design was very fairy tale-ish. The colors, like even on that opening scene, it's all these women in beautiful saris dancing. Very colorful scene, but you could tell something was off with her during the song, like she wasn't super psyched about it. Now the second song is when the ghost first goes into her in-laws' mansion for the first time, and he's looking around, and he finally gets to see Lakchi. That's the second song. Um, the third song is he gives her a choice to he will leave because now she knows he's a ghost, or if she wants him to, he'll stay. So it's coming to that decision. And of course, in these songs, there's always rain, and it ends with them in rain, professing their love to each other, but her also deciding, yeah, I want you, the spirit, to stay. And they don't call him a ghost, they call him a spirit. Fourth song, and this is a beautiful song, it's about Bengals. And I think it's called The Bengals. Um, and that's when Sunil Shetty, he does a little cameo on that. I think as a flashback. But that's a beautiful number too, with all the colorful series. But at one point they also shoot it from above, so you see all the different colors from up above while they're dancing. That was a cute number. I really like that number. The fifth song. Okay, so now as the real Kishnan is wherever he was for work, is starting to think about her and missing her. And they did this interesting thing where they would go to like this blue tint when they were doing his scenes, almost like it was night, but it didn't look like night. It definitely looked like a blue tint, a blue lens over the camera. So that led to him coming back. The sixth song, they're digging for water, and the spirit says, because they can't find water anywhere, because if you dig a well here, you'll find water. Well, they find water, and now this is the song after they find the water, and that's a big production too. And then the final song during the credits is all the real characters with strings hanging from them like puppets, and it's a bright, bright song. So the music, again, I thought there was too much of it, but I liked it. Didn't blow me over. I gave it a 3. So I mean, my final verdict on this is it's a 3. It's a nice film. I enjoyed it. Um, it was so different from everything that I've been watching. I've been watching some pretty heady stuff. So it was a nice change of pace. And also to see Shah Rukh Khan doing something like that. I also really, he did Ra 1, but that was a completely different kind of fantasy film. This was just a straight out fairy tale that didn't need a lot of explanation, didn't need a lot of backstory about the spirit. You never find out who the spirit really is, which I thought was interesting. Um, but it was fun. I'm glad that was a nice choice, Zain Ul Sad. And I appreciate that little change of pace. So thank you for that. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. Especially if you have a family. I think families would really like this film. It was funny. It was cute. It was just a feel good film. And those are always good to watch. Okay, so that's my review of that one. Now, I'm also going to give you a little fantasy John's recommendation. Now, I will tell you that the easy one would be The Wizard of Oz. Um, that's a no-brainer, right? And and that holds a special place for me because I actually did the play. I did the play The Wizard of Oz. But that's a movie, when we were kids, it came on once a year and the whole family watched it. And it was an event. Now, of course, you can watch it anytime you want. But I went a little different route. A film that was more like this. And I think is a film I love, and a lot of people don't like it. But the film I'm going to recommend is 1940's The Thief of Baghdad. This was, and I want to give the producer's name because it wouldn't have happened if not for this producer. The producer is Alexander Korda. Now, this is a remake of a Douglas Fairbanks silent film. It had 3 directors on it. It had a great cast: Conrad Veidt, who plays the Fazir, Sabu, John Austin, June Dupree, Rex Ingram, who plays the genie in the bottle, and Miles Malleson, who was the Sultan, who gets killed by a 6-armed goddess, but also wrote the screenplay for the film. The thing about this film that I love and that I'm amazed by is the special effects. For a film from 1940, the special effects are pretty unbelievable. In fact, the genie scene is really, really well done with Rex Ingram playing the giant genie. You have 3 wishes, just a big gregarious, and he flies. And there's a horse that flies, a carpet that flies. And Sabu, who was discovered, um, when he was a kid, I think 10 or 11 years old, is he reminds you. In fact, he played Mowgli in Jungle Book. I think that was his second film. I think it was his second film. But he's just so good in this, and it's a fun family. There's some. It's dark. I mean, Conrad Veidt plays the villain, and he's dark. And like the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz, he's scary. And people do get killed in this, and blinded, and turned into dogs. But it's also a Technicolor film when there weren't a lot of color films at the time, and the colors are beautiful on this. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. I would also recommend there's a Criterion Collection. So if you have the Criterion Collection channel or a DVD from the Criterion Collection or even a Laserdisc, there's great documentaries on this film that tell you the making of it. Fantastic film, really. But if you get a chance, check. It's based on the Arabian Nights, of course, but it's a really great fantasy film, and some of it has the look of this film. So that's my recommendation for that. Okay. Listen, while you're at it, while you're enjoying this, do me a favor: hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and more importantly, please share this with anybody who you think might be interested in this type of content. It's making a difference, and the subscriptions are going up. Comments, lots of comments, which I love. Some of them trashing me, but hey, you got to take the good with the bad, right? That's what I do. That's what I do. Thick skin, thick skin. But keep them coming, will you? And keep the recommendations coming too. Just do me a favor, please. Make sure that I can stream it. Or if it's a new film, if it's gonna play in a theater and it's a film that I want to see in a theater, I will definitely go see it. Other than that, though, I have to stream it. And if it's not streaming, I can't watch it. So please. And I've got all the streaming channels. So if you can find it, then I'll be able to watch it. Okay. I prefer not to watch them on YouTube because the auto translate messes it up big time. And there's commercials too, which I also hate. But give me your recommendation, even a trailer reaction, whatever. Happy to watch it. Okay. All right. That's it. We'll talk to you soon on John Talks Indian Cinema with another movie review, a trailer reaction, a song reaction, or something else. Keep them coming though. And I appreciate you guys so much watching. We'll talk to you soon.